Casting is a strange thing. It's about finding someone who the audience won't just accept but embrace in a certain type of role. Partly based on how they look, partly based on the skill they bring to the table. If the casting is too good, actors can get typecast, pigeonholed into a certain box they need to actively break out of. But while it's easy to see what makes one actor more suited to comedy and another actor more suited to drama, horror is a little harder to pinpoint. You might find one specific role that an actor fits into, but it's rare you'd broadly place them in that genre as a whole. Enter Mia Goth, who, if you haven't been paying attention, has been quietly building the most impressive horror filmography of the last 5 years. She has the likability and watchability to play the lead, while also possessing the required features to play the villain. This unusual dual talent allowed her to play both the hero Maxxine and the villain Pearl in Ty West's X trilogy. Who knew that making a series centered around two women's ambitions to become a star could turn the leading lady into one herself? But it truly has, as between X, Pearl, Maxxine, and Brandon Cronenberg's Infinity Pool, Mia Goth has created one of the most compelling showreels in recent memory. But she does have many qualities that help her to stand out in such a crowded marketplace. For starters, her unique look. With her thin blonde eyebrows, round eyes, and wide mouth, she presents a striking and memorable image that's already somewhat offbeat. There's just something different about her, which casting-wise opens her up to more out-there storytelling. Her wide mouth also makes her more expressive, whether she's screaming at the top of her lungs or beaming this eerie, clown-like smile. And when it comes to her acting chops, she harnesses a unique skill set. Not only can she easily cry on command, but due to her naturally high-pitched voice, she can unleash this hellish scream that you'd hear from 2 towns away. I don't know how, when, or why you discover you're good at screaming, but Goth's screech is undeniably perfect for cinema. Back in 2013, she landed her first role in Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac, and said that the experience really helped to shape her ambitions of the types of movies she wanted to make.
Not so much plot doesn't interest me all that much, character studies, directors that are concerned with the truth.
Mia views all her characters as turned up or turned down facets of herself, and because she really commits to any role she takes, she doesn't like to do back-to-back shoots. She needs time to refill her jug before she pours it all out again. She stated, "I think you need to go and live a whole life, and put things into the pain well, and into the joy well, and the heartbreak well, so that you're able to come to set and just give yourself completely. I think you should feel like you're run dry by the time you finish a movie." But of all her roles, there is one that stands out the most, one that cemented her as an icon of modern horror. Pearl is the prequel to X. Set in 1918, it tells the story of how a naive farm girl with dreams of becoming a star ends up turning her life into a violent nightmare. X was Goth's first leading role, but it was now at the age of 28 that she would take on a part that would change her career for the better, as not only would she play the title character, but she'd also co-write the script. This meant that she already understood the deeper meaning of all the dialogue, so all she needed to do was learn those lines inside out. She trusted that as long as she kept reciting the lines over and over, she'd be able to deliver them perfectly when the lights were shining the brightest. And given it was only a 4-week shoot, ending with one of the longest one-take monologues in film history, she knew she was going to have to be at her best. So let's take a deeper look at the finer details of Mia Goth's breakout performance in Pearl. We'll start with the physicality of the character. When I think of Pearl, I think of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, a small-town farm girl who dreams of a better life somewhere over the rainbow. As such, Mia plays her in this overly theatrical way, like you'd see in old movies. And given she views herself as a future star, Pearl's physical movements come across as someone who's learned how to behave exclusively from entertainment. Even the way she climbs a ladder feels timed with a specific rhythm. Step reset, step reset, step reset, step reset. Although the character appears to be in her late teens, Goth plays Pearl with the innocence of a toddler. You never have to question how the character is feeling, as it's completely transparent in how she moves. If she's ashamed, she looks down at the floor like a scolded child. If she's angry, she marches forward, with her arms cluelessly swinging by her side. And if she's happy after watching dancers at the pictures, she literally skips out of the theatre with delight. Everything is over the top, as she experiences the world with a childlike sensibility. For instance, when she's handed a frame from the film she just saw, notice how her eyes fixate on the gift like he's handing her a piece of pure magic. Or when she's curious about her disabled father, she pokes him in the face like he's a ball of Play-Doh, and then eyes him up close to see if he's really in there. Her behaviour just feels off, she's not quite right, everything she does is too much. We see her dancing, spinning, and showing off constantly like the whole world's a stage. She's living with this pure cult-like belief that her dreams must come true. But then when it comes to her moment to shine, and Pearl performs for the panel of producers, Goth reveals her rehearsed dance with this eerie smile glued to her face, making it as uncomfortable to witness as a Little Miss Beauty pageant. She is an adult, but she just doesn't feel like it, and her ear-to-ear smile is only made more disturbing knowing what she's done to get here. Literally nothing else matters to her but this moment. The next key is her unpredictable pitch. One of Goth's unusual skills is leading the audience down one emotional path and then just changing tack out of nowhere. For example, when she lies to the projectionist that her fake dog made the mess in the dining room, her panicked pupils scan his reaction like she's quickly trying to detect if he's buying her story or not.
I'm gonna show you something.
And then she just goes flying off in a different direction like an excited kid. This adds to the uncomfortable feeling that as emotionally transparent as Pearl is, you never really know what she's going to do next. And this is where the screaming comes into play. Mia can make Pearl go from being as quiet as a church mouse to roaring like a demon at the click of a finger. It almost serves as a jump scare, sheepish and quiet at first, and then the slap brings out this vicious force to be reckoned with. We see something similar happen when the projectionist wants to leave, and given Pearl can't handle rejection, as that only undermines her dreams of becoming a star, watch how quick she flies into hysteria when her guest tries to politely exit.
Calm down.
No! Why are you leaving me? If I didn't do anything wrong, I don't understand. I thought you liked me!
As I referenced earlier, some of this is down to the actor's unique physical attributes, but when she screams, notice how abnormally wide Mia opens her mouth, so it's like this big black hole exploding at her victim. Then later when she screams, "Nothing's going to keep me here," Goth must be shredding her vocal cords to screech this high-pitched and powerful.
Nothing's gonna keep me here!
But it's effective, and it's like nothing and no one else. And this leads into the final key, emotional outpouring. You have to admire when an actor really commits to finding something raw and honest, no matter how ugly it might look. And Mia truly excels at emptying the emotional tank when it matters most. For example, check out the moment she finally gets rejected after sacrificing everything in the expectation her dreams would come true.
Please, I'm a star!
There's something so pathetically pure in Goth's histrionic delivery here. She's got the tears drizzling down her cheeks, but she also sounds like a wounded animal howling for help. And this is in such sharp contrast to the smile she had plastered across her face mere seconds ago. But then we come to the biggest moment of the film, the incredible 8-minute monologue where the character exposes how she truly feels about everything that's happened so far. Remembering 8 minutes worth of dialogue is hard enough, especially when it's all in one take, but having to layer it with such intense emotionality is an exceptionally impressive feat to overcome. Goth knew that this was going to be the hardest scene to perform in her career to date, so she was just focused on preparation. As long as she prepares and knows her lines back to front, then maybe she can let it flow out naturally, as otherwise she risks starting to think as herself during a take.
It's not so much thinking in that situation. I think if you can get into trouble as an actor if you start thinking like that. You kind of black out a little bit. You don't really know what's going on. You kind of just lose yourself in it, and then you go for it. Sometimes the director will ask, "Oh, can you do that again?" But you don't really know what you did.
But even if Mia doesn't really know what she did, let's take a closer look at what she delivered and why director Ty West chose this version out of the 6 takes she performed on the day. For starters, Mia chooses to look down for the majority of the monologue. This makes it feel like she's lost inside herself, pulling out each thought as it appears.
You just want to stay here on our farm, and that made me so angry.
Her voice is jagged and raspy, like all that screaming has finally caught up with her. She looks exhausted, defeated, drunk on her own heartache. What's so special about this scene is that it's all in one take, so there are no cuts to hide in. This is her unfiltered performance. Whatever happens, happens. Over the 8 minutes, she starts out with tears sliding down her cheeks, and then gradually turns softer and colder, with her tears drying up, before the emotion swells back up again near the end, and you can hear the tears and snot and spit all clogging her up inside. Even the way she wipes these tears away feels childish, smearing the emotional excretions across her face rather than flicking them into her hand. Also, notice how the tears flow down Mia's face into her mouth, making the monologue feel consistently sticky and sloppy, as there's so much saliva and tears just clattering around her mouth. For a character who's tried so hard to put on a happy face, now we're seeing the raw human behind the mask. There are so many little touches that bring this monologue to life, but my personal favourite is how she describes her disgust at the feeling of being pregnant with an unwanted child.
I felt that sickness pulling, sucking on me like some needy animal in a barn.
By adding this little retching sound in her throat before she says pulling and sucking on me, she's physically showing us her character reliving that time in her life with this gurgling nausea. It's impossible to know if Mia rehearsed this detail or if it just happened to come out in the one take the director chose, but it's such an effective way of involving the audience in the emotional journey of the monologue, as it feels so instinctively off the cuff that it feels real. With enough practice, sure, most people could probably have learned the lines, sat down and said them. But it would be boring and bland, it would feel flat and forgettable. Whereas Goth proves that she's a force to be reckoned with by capturing the audience's attention and not letting it go for 8 minutes straight, for essentially just talking to herself. If that doesn't speak to her star power, I don't know what does. So if you haven't seen A24's X trilogy, don't just take my word for it, go check it out for yourself. As Mia Goth is quietly carving out one of the most interesting careers in Hollywood today. And although her look and skill set is perfectly suited to horror, with each performance she delivers, she further broadens her dramatic range. And by doing so, elevates not only what we expect from other horror actors, but the genre as a whole. Well, if you've made it this far, firstly, thank you for watching, but if you could now give the video a like, possibly even leave a comment and click on that subscribe button, it will encourage that mysterious algorithm to do its thing.